Welcome everybody to today's topic, which is recognizing the shift for women empowering change. Our guests today, guest speakers today are Gabriel Harrell, Antoinette Staples, and Andrew Landry. They will be talking to you guys about the key component of how we can recognize the shifts that are occurring in our lives. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our first speaker, Gabriel Harrell.
Hello, hello, hello. First off, I would like to thank Ms. Shunte Gamble for allowing me this opportunity to help out in the Women Empowering Change movement. And as she stated, we are speaking about the shift. Everything is shifting. We've come from a 2020 season that caused everybody to shift. So my topic today, what we're going to speak on is 3 key indicators of a shift. All right. Screen share. 3 key factors for a shift, which is basically asking a question of how do you know when it's time to shift? You've been doing what you've been doing for so long. You've been building, or you've been thinking, not even knowing if you have to build or what you were called to build. But I'm here to tell you that there are 3 key things that let you know when a shift is necessary or when your burden is calling and it's calling you to do something different in the world. So first, we're going to start with a question that I want everyone to ask themselves. This is something, if you have paper, if you don't have paper, I want you to get it so you could take notes, because this is something that afterwards I want you to take with you to be able to go over and help you with your shift on a daily basis. So what we're going to start with is, what are your current challenges? Because we all face challenges in life. But for us to be 100%, we have to be authentic with ourselves and ask, what are our current challenges? And challenges occur in 2 places. They occur in your life. So first, I want you to ask yourself, what are the current challenges in my life? And you may think, what do I mean by that? What are my current challenges in life? What I'm saying is, what are your current challenges in your home life? Everyone's home life is different. You may be married, you may be single, you may have kids, you may have no kids, you may have a husband, wife, and children. How do these challenges affect you in your day-to-day journey? Then you have to ask yourself, what about past trauma? Because past trauma is something that also keeps us from moving and from doing, and it really affects our day-to-day. A lot of us have heard the phrase of saying that I'm a product of my environment. And a lot of times that accepting that, saying I'm a product of my environment, it either hinders you or helps you in your shift. And the third part of your home life, of the self things, is, what do you think about yourself? Because your self view determines what you are able to do. Now, that doesn't mean that how you view yourself is right or wrong. What I'm saying is, how you choose to think about yourself may limit you in doing anything, because you may be very capable of doing many things, but if your self view says that you are not, then you won't even take the initiative to do it. So I want you to think about those 3 things. What are your challenges in your home life? What are past traumas that you're holding on to? And thirdly, how do you view yourself? And again, what are your current challenges also in your purpose? Because your purpose is what you are called to do. So let me go through my notes real quick. You have to ask yourself these 2 questions. What am I supposed to do? What was I put here to do? Which is basically your purpose. So if your challenge is you don't know what you're supposed to do, that will definitely hinder you from going forward in anything that you're supposed to do. Miles Monroe says, when purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable, which means when you don't know why you are here, when you don't know or understand what you were put here to do, then you're going to abuse your purpose, thus abusing yourself. You're going to end up doing things that you might not be called to do. And you may find some success, but there won't be true fulfillment because you are not doing what you were called to do. And then the second thing is, I know what I'm supposed to do, or I believe I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but how do I do it? I'm not sure of what steps to take. I don't know which way I should be going. So with that, oh, here we go. Hold on 1 second. All right. Oh no. Can you all see my screen? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I can put this tablet down for a second. So that's what it is. I know what to do is the first question you have to. I don't know what to do is the first challenge in your purpose. And the second thing, I know what to do, but how to do it. That's the problem. I know I'm supposed to be doing something. I know I'm called to go to the marketplace. I know I'm called to change women, change men. But the question is, how do I go about doing that? And so those are the two questions, and the question ultimately, what are my challenges? And those are the two breakdowns that I want us to be authentic with ourselves, because this isn't something that you have to share with anyone else, but this is something that you have to do for yourself, to do an inventory, to know, okay, I have to do a self-assessment before I go forward, because this is basically what is counting the cost. You're counting the cost of your purpose. You're counting the cost of your life to see, okay, what is it going to take for me to press forward? So now you have to have, the first key is having a desire to change. You have to want to do better, because we just got stuck on knowledge is power, potential is all great. Knowledge is, use knowledge is power. Potential is just saying that you would like to do something great. You have the ability to do something great, but it's all about having that desire first. And having that desire, you have to know what a desire is. It's a strong feeling or wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. So, what is it that you have a strong feeling or want to happen? What is it that you are wishing that, man, if this could only happen, if I could only do this, if I can only be opened up to this? Every one of us have one of these things. It's just we have never really sat down and took the time to say, okay, what do I want to do? We just automatically fall into someone else's vision. And just since it's potentially paying our bills or doing something for us, we accept it when that might not be actually what we want to do. We are just doing it just because it's paying the bills. But I want you to really take a second to ask yourself, what is it that I have a strong feeling about? What is it that I actually want to accomplish in life? Oh, so this is what you have to ask yourself. What catches your attention? These are two things that help you understand what it is that you are supposed to be doing. And in these two questions, they break down basically and show you what it is you are called to do, what your desire is attached to. So you have to ask yourself two questions. What catches your attention? And not just in the sense of, you're looking at this, you like shirts, you like this, but what truly catches your attention? Not in that, ooh, I like this for the moment, but that thing that catches your attention and that draws you, that you seem to see all the time. I liken it to when you want something. Let's say you're in the market for buying a new vehicle. And as soon as you say, I want a BMW 7 Series, you automatically are drawn to that. And everywhere you go, you begin to see BMW 7 Series. And it's not the fact that all of a sudden BMW 7 Series just started popping up. It's the fact that now you've put it in your subconscious that this is what you want. And your subconscious opens not your sight, but your vision. And now your vision has been opened up and you begin to see what you want. So now you have to see in purpose and in life what catches your attention. Is it poverty? Is it seeing men built up? Is it seeing women built up? Do you have a product? Is it something that you feel that could be used in the world that isn't available? And it's what in your life is also bothering you, because there are parts in your life In your trauma, you may say, okay, I grew up without this. I grew up without that. In my life, I didn't have this. In my life, I wish I would have had that. And when you do that, that helps you assess these things, because now you can answer the question, what in my life and in the world bothers me, and what catches my attention? And these two are intertwined, because those things in life and in the world that bother you, those are the things that are catching your attention. Those are the things that bothers you, and it tells you what your burden is. So I want you to keep this. Whatever in your life in the world bothers you, that becomes your burden. And I want us to take for this space, I want us to remove that definition of burden that says it's something that's bothersome or that it hinders or harms us. In this space, a burden is something that bothers you, but not from the space it makes your life harder. It bothers you because you are the answer to whatever the question is that bothers you. If you want to know why men are not where they're supposed to be, you may be the answer to that question. If you want to know why women aren't where they're supposed to be, you may be the answer to that question. Whatever that is that catches your attention, or you feel that's in your life that's bothersome to you, you have to take the time to say, okay, maybe this is what I'm called to do. And in the end, you'll see how the question, what what is your current challenge, and all these keys will begin to line up, and it'll basically just be one big story, and you'll be able to say, oh, and I hope this brings your aha moment. So the second thing that we come across is closed doors. No one likes closed doors, and not closed doors in the conventional sense of you've been locked out your house, although that's not a favorable situation. But closed doors, this is what we think of when we talk about closed doors. They block access. So many times in life when we're walking through in our purpose, we've went through the space where we said, okay, I know what bothers me. I understand what in my life burdens me. I've done my self-assessment and I know what I'm supposed to do. And you begin to work it. You begin it, building it from the ground up. Then you like, okay, I'm ready. So you launch out and bam, you get a closed door and it's blocking your access. So you're thinking, okay, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but why is it not allowing me to move forward? What is it that I'm doing? And three things closed doors can do. The first thing is they can produce fear. That's one of the very things that closed doors can do. And I wanted to start with this because this is the thing that I want to avoid. This is the most unfavorable thing that closed doors can do. Closed doors can produce fear and cause you to quit because you've sat and you've thought, okay, I've done all these things. I've looked at myself. I know what I'm supposed to do. But for whatever reason, I keep hitting closed doors. And it has that fear and it takes you back to the space that makes you think that I'm not supposed to be doing this. And I don't want us to be, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to say, okay, I have to quit because it's not working the way that I thought it was supposed to. So first thing is I hit this first because I want us to address this, but I want you to throw this out your mind. Whatever you were called to do, it is in you to do it. So I don't want you to quit when the going gets tough. Second thing it may cause you to do, regroup, rework, and re-strategize. When we get rid of fear, we already realize that that is not a favorable thing that we should step into. The next two key, 1, 2, and 3 are the things that I hope we step into. One is regrouping, reworking, and re-strategize. Okay, I met this closed door. You ask yourself, why do I have this closed door? What is it that I am doing that isn't right? So what we should do is go back to the drawing board. There's nothing wrong with that because we know a shift is a sudden move. So therefore, sometimes we like, okay, what I thought was going to produce this didn't produce this. However, that's not to say what you're doing is wrong. It just may mean you have to rework and retool some things. You might not have to rework your entire strategy. You might just have to reboot, go back, assess it. And once you ask yourself, why isn't it working? that may begin to open up things in how you've planned. And you say, okay, if I do this part like this, or if I take this and move it here, or if I do less or more of that, and you go right back to that door, it's likely that that door may open, but it only takes you to retool. And this second key is something that you're going to have to do over and over again in the strategy. Or the third thing, create, make your own opportunity. Sometimes it's not the fact that what you're doing isn't correct. It's not the fact of what you're doing isn't what you're supposed to do. It's just the fact that something or someone is hindering you from moving forward in this particular lane. And when that happens, that only means you're called to create your own opportunities, because some people will attempt to limit you. Some people will attempt to put a cap on you, or you'll see the glass ceiling. And a quick way around a lid or a glass ceiling is to create your own door. So don't confuse regrouping and the creation as the same thing. Sometimes you do want to make sure, always before you go to the third key of create, you want to really assess the regroup, because you do not want pride to say, oh, they're just holding me back. They don't want me to succeed, or this isn't working in my favor. And you begin to create your own opportunity when in actuality, what you should have done was just regroup and retool. So but when you, this is why it's important for us to assess ourselves properly, because you will begin to see, okay, pride is something that's in me. This is something that's in me. And then you will be able to see that, okay, I don't need to create my own opportunity right now. I really just need to rework and re-strategize. We go to our third key, old solutions. They are no longer working. What am I supposed to do? What does this mean? Your once unstoppable move becomes stoppable. I've been doing this. I've been getting by doing this. I've been pushing. And every time things get hard, boom, I pull that big joker out. And it's unstoppable. Nobody is moving it. And I keep pressing forward. I keep pressing forward. And things are going favorable for me. But then there comes a moment when my once unstoppable move is no longer unstoppable. It is not allowing me to press forward. And things that this can produce is self-doubt and stagnation, because you've been moving, you've been gaining some level of success in whatever market and whatever arena that you're in. But then all of a sudden, when you do your unstoppable and it doesn't open the same doors, it doesn't move the same things, you may begin to doubt yourself. You'll forget about all the success you've had thus far, and you'll doubt yourself, and that will cause stagnation. And the good thing I want to let you all know about these keys, many times, regardless of what level you're on, you may have advanced by using them, in ABC order, but sometimes you have to go back. So when your unstoppable move becomes unstoppable, although self-doubt and stagnation are hiding behind that door to leap on you, I want you to go back a step and say, okay, maybe I need to reassess and regroup. I have to go back to the closed door step. It's not the fact that I need to quit, because that self-doubt and that stagnation will bring that fear and cause us to quit. But no, okay, I know I've been moving. I know I've been progressing. So now what do I do? Now it's either that time to regroup or reset, or it's time for us to go back and create our own lane, because many times we've just been going in the reworking and retooling when, okay, that obstacle comes. And at that point, that is the sign that, okay, we've been groomed enough and it's time for us to move out on our own. I'm not sure what what thing I was on, but I believe it was on a WEC thing that I was on, and the guy was speaking on rockets and saying how when you see rockets going into space, you have the two side rockets that assist the big rocket in going up. And once it gets to a certain space, the two smaller rockets fall off and go on into their own thing. And many times, the lane that you were in was just helping you. Those are those two smaller rockets pushing you forward. But then they fall off because it's time for you to push yourself. It's time for you to go out on your own. So when your unstoppable move becomes unstoppable, that is the space when I want you to really begin to look at that create portion and see, okay, I've gained success. I've gained this and that based on what I've been doing so far. Is it now time for me to create my own lane? Is it time for me to create a door for myself, and not just for yourself, but for you to be now the platform that you can bring other people on? So this is what I want you to realize. Stronger obstacles come as you grow stronger. So this is tied to old solutions no longer work. And it's not because what you're doing is not right, but we've all heard the phrase, new levels, new devils. The stronger you become, the same obstacles are not going to work. So when you're going through and things are seemingly going well, it's not the fact that things aren't happening, it's the obstacles that are approaching you are really not obstacles. When we've all used the phrase jokingly in our times, handle my light work. That's basically saying this isn't even on the level of me to even show it, give it any credence. So many times the obstacles in our life, we've grown and we're strengthening ourselves. So we're just moving over them. We're just moving mountains. We're just pushing and you're full steam. But then obstacles understand that, okay, these same obstacles, these same things aren't going to stop him or her. So now as you are growing stronger, the obstacles you face are growing stronger. Just like in a video game, the more you level up, the more the game is leveling up. So you have to realize that things are leveling up at the same rate that you are leveling up. So now, okay, I am built to handle this because all of the obstacles that I have overcame in the past and everything that I've learned from overcoming those obstacles have brought me to a space to now I'm meeting an obstacle that I'm unfamiliar with. But the good thing about it is I'm taking all the tools, I'm bringing rather all the tools with me and all the knowledge that I've attained over the years, over the months. And now I'm able to go back, rework, and reassess and see, okay, what is it that I have in my ability that is going to take me to the next level? And many times, depending on what level you are in your purpose, this may require a team because beyond popular belief, any purpose that you have, anything that you've been given is going to require something someone else has that you don't have. So you don't want to get stuck in the space of, I have to do this all by myself. I can't do this. I have to learn this. Some stuff you don't need to learn. You just need to go get someone who knows what they're doing at the moment and allow them to pour into you. So now you understand that, okay, it's not the fact that I'm doing something wrong. It's just the fact that I'm in a space where I need to do something new or bring in someone to help me. And we will end with this. This is what I want you to take with you. First key, your burden is what you're assigned to. We go back to those questions. Whatever it is that truly bothers you, whatever state people are in or the world is in, be it on a governmental mountain, a business mountain, a financial mountain, the family mountain, whatever it is that you are seeing that, okay, this is really bothering me. For myself, I grew up in a fatherless home. Fatherlessness and manhood development really began to bother me as I looked at the scope of the world. So therefore, I realized basically after counsel and after mentorship that my burden is manhood development. So therefore, I stepped out and I am becoming an answer to, okay, helping men become who they're supposed to be. So my burden told me what I was assigned to. Sometimes you have to create the door. When closed doors come, it's not the fact that you're doing something wrong. It's not the fact that, okay, what your business was, what your purpose was not supposed to happen. What you were doing was just by happenstance and it fluttered and it fizzled out. No, sometimes that is a thing to take the training wheels off, because riding the coattails of someone else is basically you had a training wheels on. It's really no fear because you're riding the wave of someone else. But now it comes to a space where God is telling you, okay, it's time for you to branch out and do your own thing. And so I know you are not going to do it on your own because you've reached that comfortable space to where you're good. You're good where you are. I'm making good money. I'm in the 6-figure business and doing all that. But you were called to make 7 figures. But you're like, 7 figures is good, but I'm good at 6 figures. So sometimes God closes that door for you to have no choice but to branch out and move into something else that will take you further. And lastly, as you evolve, so do your obstacles. So as you grow, your obstacles are growing. As you gain knowledge and power, so do circumstances, so do the obstacles, so do the challenge. But when you take into consideration everything that I've told you, all the keys, all the questions, if you were truly authentic with yourself, and let me stop and say that none of this will work if when you ask yourself, what are my current challenges? And you begin to break them down in your home life and how you view yourself and the points that I gave you earlier, none of this will work if you are not honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself because if you do not count the cost correctly, you will end up building something that you cannot complete. And the Bible speaks of that. Every man or woman has to count the cost because if he does not count the cost, he will begin something that he will not be able to finish. And that allows your enemies and all those people who are against you to ridicule you because you have built something and you boasted in it and you were not able to finish or create that thing that you were called to or that you said to. So let us not bring shame upon ourselves because we did not want to be honest with ourselves. Let us not allow obstacles to stop us. And basically, if you take this and you follow these, take the keys with you, whatever you were called to do, I promise you, you will fulfill that thing. Thank you all.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for, just blessing us with that, with your viewpoint and your lesson for today. It was amazing. I can relate to everything that you said. A lot of times we get to the point where we feel like we've had a lot of experience and these things should be second nature to us, but we really forget. We don't peel back the layers of experience and really, get deep and ask ourselves, hey, am I really being honest with myself about this level that I'm on? Am I really being honest about myself, about my goals, or am I allowing my circumstances to influence my decisions about my calling and my assignment? So a lot of this is good refreshments for a lot of us who have been in business a long time, because no matter how long you've been in business, you're going to come to a point where your life is still going to shift. And I was listening to a pastor and he said, he was talking about if we could all imagine a pulse. When you're hooked up to the machine and you see your pulse, it's beating, your heart is beating. So you're getting fluctuations on the screen going up and down. And a lot of times in our lives, we want where things kind of level out. You're like, okay, I've really put in the work. And why is this not leveling out? Why do I continuously come up against challenges or obstacles or people in my path that make progress a little bit harder to achieve? And he was just saying, I don't want my life to become stabilized where it's just a one flat line. And when you think about it, when you're hooked up, you don't want that flat line. So it's good when your heart is beating and you have fluctuations in your life and things, you have your high points and then you have your low points and then you're back on the mountaintop. You made the business deal, or you got the promotion, or you led the team successfully, or the product, it launched and blew up. And then you have times where you did the same thing and the product didn't blow up, or you put in so much time at this job and you still didn't get the promotion. It's those times where you have to say, okay, well, you know what, this is my place where I say, okay, what were the things that I had in place? Where is my mind at this particular point? Am I stuck on the past, My experiences, even past successes, can be stumbling blocks for future successes, because we lean on what worked and then we don't re-energize the strategy, or we don't realize that our market has shifted, our audience has shifted, our sales are shifting. And it doesn't mean that you're not, doing well in your business. It just means that, I love what Gabriel said, it's time to level up. And I love the analogy with the game. It gets harder. I would never want to sit and invest my time and never be challenged. And we look for those challenges recreational, but then we fight them when they're in our lives, right? So we want to have that same mindset. And last week we were talking about the finite and the infinite mindset. Your goals, your journey, your purpose, it's all part of an infinite journey. Meaning your goal should not just be your ending point. It should be the point where you start again. Once you meet a goal, it should be the launching pad for the next strategy. Even if if your assignment is to stay consistent or switch or change with your shift. So Gabriel, tell us how we can follow you, how we can plug into what you have going on.
All right. If you would like to follow me, you can follow me through my website, which is gabrielharrell.com. So you see my name.com, on Instagram, on Facebook. It is the same, but it is I am the Gabriel Harrell on Instagram and on Facebook. And I am called for manhood development, as I've told you. So if you have men in your life, if you know them, if you have male children, send them my way, and I will help them become those kingdom men that they are called to be. And I even say women, come on over, because now you get to see what it is that a kingdom man should look like, and it'll begin to weed out if you have any of those worldly men, will say, that are seeking after you, and how to avoid them. But I would really like to thank Ms. Gamble for this opportunity. I'm loving what you're doing. You are really making an impact, and you keep on going, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. You guys plug in and follow him. If you have a organization that could partner with him and have young men that he could mentor, or grown men that just need the support. I think at every age, at every stage, we all need those positive influences to help us really attack and achieve our assignments. So coming up next, we have Antoinette Staples. I'm so excited. She's been very instrumental in the process of Women Empowering Change, really being able to empower the change. And I want to welcome her back. She presented a topic very similar at our Women Empowering Change Summit. We had a leadership summit, and it was just so impactful for me. And you guys, if you follow me, you know that I've been at this for a long time, over 10 years. And it was so refreshing, because as you move forward, you sometimes we don't really realize that our assignment has changed. Mm-hmm. The purpose of our lives still remains the same, but we may be called to a different market, or called to assist in a different way. Or, I was telling my mom, I said, I want to teach the world. And I did not know that that was going to be through social media, through radio, through our leadership academy. I just thought it'd be in a classroom. So my assignment didn't change, which was to teach. It was just the platform in which I was teaching on change. But I had to go back to purpose. Yeah. I had to go back, and I had to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, where am I at now? What is my purpose? And even though my life is shifting and my desires are changing, how can that tie back into my original assignment and my purpose? So welcome, Antoinette, and she's going to get us started on purpose.
Good morning, the blueprint. Can you all hear me? Good. Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Shunte. I know God connected us. Listen, she can't get rid of me, even if she tried. She's been instrumental in my life as well, in my ministry. And so I'm just so grateful for you, Shunte, and this opportunity. So I do have the pleasure today to talk about leading with purpose. And I'm so excited. It's actually my purpose to help women and men find out what their purpose is and to pursue it passionately. And so I'm going to use the 20 minutes that I have to get you all together, and we're going to talk about purpose. All right, leading with purpose. So let me go ahead and share my screen and let me know if you all can see it. And I'm going to get into presentation mode. So let's go ahead. Should be in presentation mode here. Can you see my slide? Do you see the slide, Shunte? Can you all see that first slide? Awesome. Okay, so again, like I said, I have the pleasure today to talk about leading with purpose. And I'm gonna go through this slide deck. I want you all to definitely take some notes and ask yourself some questions, because what I share with you today, obviously, you want to reflect on. So you want to go back to and revisit. And so I really would encourage you to do that. So let's just go ahead and hop right in. As I look through today's presentation, here are some things that we're going to talk about. So we're going to define your purpose, or just the concept of what purpose is and how you can try to identify what that is for your life. We're going to understand our why, right? Because purpose is really tied to our why. Why am I doing something, right? Why was I created? What am I here for? And so we're going to dig into understanding our why. Then we're going to talk about vision. All right. So why does vision matter? Why vision matters. I think that's really important. And then lastly, we're going to talk about running with the vision. So I'm really excited to share this. So what is your purpose? Is that a pressing question, right? In 2020, maybe you said you felt like you had it, then the world felt like it was, turned upside down, and maybe you felt like you didn't have your purpose anymore. Okay, I don't know. But some of us can relate and say, there are times when I felt like I was really confident about what I was supposed to be doing, why I'm here. And then there are other times that I'm like, Lord, what are you doing? Or as a matter of fact, what do you want me to do? Okay, I don't know why I'm here. Don't know what I'm supposed to do. Don't know why I was created. And I always believe we have to go back to our Creator to understand, why did He put us here? Every day that we wake up, I believe God is saying, there's something that I want you to do. There's somebody that I want you to impact, somebody I want you to influence. And I think we would be remiss if we did not consider the people that are right in front of us in our home, those people that we work with, and all of that. So when we think about our purpose, we don't want to think that it's something always that is so large and something that we cannot obtain, right? It's something that typically God is saying, I woke you up for this every single day. So in every day of your life, there is purpose. You were created for purpose. So when we look at this, when we talk about how do we define purpose, I got some questions that need answers. All right, I got some questions that need answers. And so I have them down here below. But when you look at this car right here, now don't get caught up on the logo or nothing like that. Don't get caught up on what type of car it is, okay? Because that's not really relevant. But when you look at a car, all of us know that when we look at that car, we're supposed to get in that thing and drive. Okay, now only if it belongs to you, of course. All right, now I'm not telling you go drive somebody else's car. You don't have permission. What I am telling you though is, if you look at a car, you know the purpose of that car is to be driven. It's supposed to get you from point A to point B. So why was this thing created? Now, we don't need to go to the makers of Mercedes-Benz to look at a car and understand that the reason this thing is here is to be driven and to get us from one destination to the next. All right. So when you ask yourself, what is my purpose? Why was I created? I encourage you to go back to God. I encourage you to go back to the Word. I encourage you to pray to really get an answer to that question, right? When you think about your business, why do I desire to do this? Why am I creating this? Who do I want to impact, right? Thinking about that. Why is it created? All right. And when you look at the car, I ask you, does it have to be told what to do? Well, we should all know that if you don't never put that thing in drive, it ain't going nowhere. Okay. So the answer is yes. Yes, it has to be told what to do. And if you were to pursue purpose absent of God, you will not ever get to where God has you to go. and you will never fully be doing what God wants you to do. And I don't believe you can define purpose separate from your creator, right? And so when you think about, do I have to be told what to do? Yes, you do. And you should always be revisiting, Lord, what do you want me to do? Lord, what would you have me to do in this season? All right. So one, why was I created? That's the first question. Two, the second question is, do I have to be told what to do? Yeah, because I don't want to go outside of the will of the Father. I don't want to do anything God is not telling me to do. But then the last thing is, can this car do anything else? All right, now we know that it's supposed to move forward. All right, it's supposed to go forward. But y'all know it's something when you look at your gears where you can reverse that thing. All right, and so instead of moving forward, that thing can go backwards. And why is that important in purpose? It's important in purpose because sometimes you feel like you took some steps back, right? But if you shift and you move that gear, you can go forward again. And so I think some people get down about purpose because you feel like you're taking some steps back. Sometimes that will happen. Also, sometimes your assignment changes, and Shunte spoke about that. So sometimes when you're in purpose, you're going to be doing something different. Your gears will shift. And Gabriel before me talked about recognizing the shift. Sometimes there will be a shift that will happen, but your purpose did not change. When we look at this thing, we are very clear that it is supposed to drive and move us and get us to a destination. Sometimes you can put that thing in cruise control. Sometimes you can get into neutral. Sometimes you can shift, right? So you're going to have to shift those gears and how you get there. But you have to understand that your purpose has not changed. If you get very clear about that, and we'll talk about identity and some of those things going forward, purpose does not change, all right? Purpose does not change. And what purpose is not defined by, so let's get this clear. Let's clear the air, all right? Purpose is not defined by opinion, okay? I don't really care what anybody else thinks about what your purpose is, all right? Yeah. All right, we don't care what other people think about your purpose, so don't consult them. Remember I said, don't talk to them. People are gonna talk you out of your purpose. We talk about Joseph here in a few slides. People will try to talk you out of your purpose. How dare you? What made you think you could do that? What made you think that was possible? People can typically only see out of the realm of their experience. If they don't think it's possible for them, surely they don't think it's possible for you. So we don't ask people their opinions about our purpose, okay? Your purpose is not defined by your followers. Let me tell you, if you got 10 followers on social media or you got 10,000, your purpose is still the same. God is not impressed by followers. That's a worldly thing, all right? So God says, I don't care about the opinion of people, and I don't care about your followers. I don't care about the people that are following you. There's a difference between people following you and people assigned to you. Some people follow you because they're nosy. The people assigned to you are going to receive from you, and it's very, very different. And then the last thing is status. It is not defined by your social or economic status, okay? So it doesn't matter about how much money you make, doesn't matter about your career, none of that is defined by purpose. All right, so let's get clear. We're gonna clear the air. All right, we're gonna clear the smoke and the mirrors, because y'all know social media have us confused out here in these streets, all right? Purpose is not defined by opinion, followers, or status. All right, can I get an amen in the back corner? Okay, all right, so as we move forward, getting to purpose. As we get to purpose, what does it mean? Purpose doesn't change. I said that before. Assignments change, your responsibility change, roles can change. Purpose does not change. And the reason why you can be so confident in that is because your purpose is tied to your identity. Who God created you to be is attached to your purpose. Therefore, it does not change. What God thinks about you doesn't change. Therefore, the reason he created you, the reason why he put you here, that's not going to change. How you show up in this life may change. Sometimes your assignment may be in the front. Sometimes your assignment may be in the back. Does that mean you show up any less? No, you show up in the fullness of who you are. That is purpose, right? That is when I show up in purpose and I understand who God created me to be, and I never dim that light, right? I'm always fully showing up in my full self, all right? Your purpose is unique to you, right? So God created you with a purpose in mind from the beginning of time. When he forms you in your mother's womb, all right, God created you with that purpose. And then your purpose is not about you. I'm so sorry. I know this was disappointing, all right? Your purpose is not about you. It's not about your fame. It's not about your fortune. It's not about your bank account. Your purpose is about your impact of others, right? The way you are able to impact other people. That means that your impact is greater than you. I hope that that builds you with some sense of pride, right? To know that God put something in you that is greater than you, right? And in order for you to use your purpose, you have to be willing to do it so that it blesses someone else. Now, as a result of your obedience, you will be blessed, but you can't pursue purpose with your own agenda. All right, you have to pursue purpose, understanding who's God assigned to me, how am I impacting their life, what can I do for them? All right, so I hope y'all taking some notes here. Purpose doesn't change, it's unique to you, and your purpose is not about you. I know that was disappointing. You think about it, okay? All right, it'll be all right. Purpose is not about us. All right, so more than what, you need to remember your why. More than what I'm doing, because, and this is so important, you guys, because if you get stuck on what, then your seasons when you're not on the platform and you're in the pew, you will think and you will confuse that you are not living in purpose. That is a lie of the enemy. You can be on the platform with a microphone, or you can be in the seat in an audience and still be living in purpose. You have to understand that it's not about what you're doing at the time, but it's about why am I doing it, right? And how am I doing it? And so you need to remember, it's not about the what as much as it is about the why. And I'm really trying to stay on time here. All right, so as you go forward, I love this quote by Grant Cardone, and it says this: your persistence on any given endeavor is determined by the clarity of your purpose. You can only pursue a thing with the level of persistence that matches your clarity. If you're not clear about your purpose, you won't have very much persistence when you're going after it, right? And so you need to ask God. That's the thing that we get in God's face about: clarity. All right, Lord, I need clarity. What am I supposed to be doing in this season? Lord, I need you to make it plain. I need you to make it plain. Sometimes that's just a prayer. All right, it don't have to be too deep. Lord, I'm in this situation. I need you to make it plain, make it clear. All right. Am I supposed to talk to this person? Am I supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to spend this money? When you start talking about business and you thinking about investing and all of those things, you might want to consult God so you don't come up in debt and losing money because you're listening to the opinions of people, or you listening to your own voice more than you listen to God's. So yeah, Lord, make it plain, make it clear so I can pursue things and I'm not wasting time or resources. All right. So we love this quote here. But then as we go forward and I talk about shaping and embracing your why, I want to share 4 things with you. And these are points of reflection that I want you to go back and visit. All right. So write these things down and then ask yourself, are you struggling in any one of these areas? So first, people are depending on you. That's right. I said it. You're that important. Don't let anybody else confuse it. All right. You're that important. Somebody is depending on you fulfilling your purpose. All right. It is what impacts the world. All right. And so what do you struggle with in that statement? What do you struggle with in the fact that people are actually depending on you? All right. The next one is God expects it of you. God expects you to fulfill your purpose, and he expects you to fulfill the why in which he put you here. What do you struggle with in that question or in that statement? It gives your life meaning. We all have a reason why we are here. If you struggle with your why, ask yourself, why am I struggling in this? Why am I struggling that I actually have a reason that I woke up this morning, that there's actually a reason that I'm at this job, that there's actually a reason why God assigned me to this family, right? These are my children. This is my spouse. There's a reason why. And my life has meaning in all of this. Why do I struggle with that if I do? All right. And then lastly, your greatest self is connected to it. Your greatest self is connected to your why. All right. The best you is connected to you fulfilling your why. And so you need to know that. You need to trust that and believe that. All right. So purpose requires time, talent, and trust. Time, talent, and trust. It determines, in order for you to fully live out your purpose, you got to give it some time. All right. You got to give yourself time to get along with God so you can get some clarity. And you got to give yourself some time to connect with the people that he's called you to. Now, listen, if you don't want to impact nobody and you don't like people, we're going to pray about it, okay? Because your purpose is for you to impact other people. So, Lord, we pray for the people that don't like people, okay? Because the people that don't like people, not going to fully be able to live out their purpose, all right? So we pray that the Lord helps you in that if you're struggling with connecting to the people that God has assigned you to. All right. But the other thing is talent. So purpose requires your talent, your God-given skill, your God-given treasure, right? Those things that God has placed and imparted inside of you. That's what makes you individual, okay, and unique. All right. And so you're already gifted in the area of your purpose. Now, some people are going to sharpen you. Iron sharpens iron. There's some people that can sharpen your skill and sharpen your gift, but God's already placed it inside of you, and it will come naturally. So you don't have to go and search for it. That's when you start trying to mold it and model it after other people. That's when it becomes difficult. But if you get back to the place that God already put it inside of me, I might just need to prune it a little bit. All right. I need to strengthen it a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's going to come naturally to me because it's already been placed inside of me. That's when you're really tapping into your talent, which is a part of your purpose. And then lastly, it requires trust. All right. Trust that God has already equipped you with everything that you need, and you are more than capable. You are more than capable. So purpose requires time, talent, and trust. All right. Now, when we talk about that, so we move in from purpose to vision because they're both so tied together, all right, and so deeply connected. But why is purpose important? So remember, we talked about clarity. You can't pursue purpose if you don't have clarity, right? But this image, I love it because you see, when we have vision, it makes some blurry things come into focus, all right? And so you can't live out your purpose if you can't see clearly, all right? If you can't see clearly, you got noise all around you, you got distractions and barriers and things all in front of you, right? We got to clear this thing up. And so vision is important. And I share this scripture with you all, and I love the amplified version of this, Habakkuk 2:2-3. And so I'm going to read it to you really quickly. And it says, "Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and engrave it plainly on tablets so that the one who reads it will run. For the vision is yet for the appointed time." That's the future. So you need to know that we are pursuing something that we are looking towards in the future, right? And so it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. It hurries towards the goal, right? The goal of fulfillment. It will not fail. It will not fail. Even though it delays, wait patiently for it because it will certainly come. It will not delay. All right. And so you need to know that, write that scripture down, meditate on that, reflect on that. But as we think about why is vision important and how do we run with it, you need clarity, right? We got to bring some things into focus. So Lord, help us with our vision. But when we run with vision, I like to say it's how we show up. It's how we show up, right? You know how confident someone is and how clear they are on their vision based on how they show up, right? And so I broke this down, and I'll give you guys this acronym here. And so the letters stand for sight, hunger, obedience, and work. All right. If you want to run with the vision, you got to have sight. You need some clarity, right? Lord, we ask you, if we struggling, help us pop them contacts in. Give us those glasses, whatever we need. We need some sight, Lord. We need you to help us with that. But also give us a hunger. What is that? That means we want some passion. We want passion for what it is that you've called us to do. We ask for obedience. All right. So sometimes we don't feel like doing what you asked us to do. Help us be obedient. But lastly, help us to be willing to do the work. All right. So you want to show up confident. You want to show up ready. Show up willing. Now, I'm going to let those, all right, marinate with those. I want to show up confident, right? And if I have my vision and I know where I'm going and what I'm headed towards, then I'm going to show up confident. I'm going to show up ready, and I'm going to show up willing. And then at the bottom piece of that, I want to show up consistently, authentically, and courageously. All right. I don't apologize for who I am and who God called me to be or what he called me to do. And so we do this in phases. Here I give scripture reference to Joseph, which you guys can go back and reflect on at a different time. But Joseph shared his vision, which was his dream, right? He was like, y'all gonna bow down to me one day. And people don't like that. When you're clear about your vision and you can tell them, that makes some people feel away, okay? But you guys can go back and read the scripture at a later time. But here in phase one, as I talk about purpose and vision and where they meet, one is really tied to knowing who you are and believing what God says about you. You got to believe what God says about you. That's absent of opinion. That's absent of anybody else's thoughts or feelings. All right. The next part of when purpose meets vision is choosing to pursue what we see. Now, we're not just asking God for vision so we can do nothing with it. We're asking God for vision so that we can pursue what it is we see. And then the last thing, phase 3, is accepting it will change. All right. Accepting it will change your address and your status. God not gonna keep you where you are. You can't pursue vision and stay in the same place. You got to be willing to move. All right. And so my last thing here is, remember that as we look at that pyramid, our ultimate goal is to get to how we impact others. At the foundation of that, it is our identity. All right. When we clear about who we are and who God created us to be, he'll start to give us some vision and clarity on what he wants us to do. And we want to pursue that with purpose. Ultimately, we will have impact. And the last thing that I want to share with you all is this quote: the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. All right. So we ask God for clarity in our vision. We ask God to help us to stand confidently in our purpose. And I really hope that this message blessed you guys today. Thank you, Shunte.
Well, I know for a fact that I have definitely been blessed, and we talk about it all the time. Um, when you in a space for a long period of time, I refer back to, my earlier comment. A lot of us are already doing the success thing. We're already successful business women or men. We're already in a long-term professional career. But it comes time when we have to go back and we have to do some really good, honest self-reflection. And we have to go back and say, okay, have I lost sight of my purpose? Have I gotten comfortable in this particular season of my life to the point where I'm not challenging myself to kind of transcend with the shift that's occurring? Because the shift is going to happen. And I always say, go willingly, don't go kicking and screaming. I've tried it. You're going to, change is inevitable. So we all experience change. And the thing about change is, sometimes we don't necessarily even recognize that change is happening. We may feel super frustrated or super sad or bored, and we're just feeling like, what's going on? You haven't really identified that you're changed. You've changed. You've grown. You've leveled up. And life is just presenting you with the opportunity to level up in externally too, when your external circumstances, in your environment, the things that you're actually pursuing is giving you God is giving you an opportunity to level up also within yourself. So Antoinette, thank you so much. I've been definitely blessed. Can you please tell us how we can follow and plug in with what you have going on, any projects and your organization?
Absolutely. So you all can definitely follow me. I have obviously social media, Instagram, Facebook, Antoinette Staples. I also have a YouTube channel. So you all please follow me and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. It's also Antoinette Staples. And then I have a women's ministry, WE.N.G.S, which stands for Women Established in God's Sword. We do an annual conference that Shunte has been a part of, and will continue to be a part of, God willing. Come on. And so you all, please follow. We will be doing another conference this year, so I'm so excited. In the coming months, we'll be sharing more information.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
yes, I will be participating because I put something in the ground. She have us plant our promises. And you really have to stay committed to the things that you plant because it takes time. So I'm gonna be there because I need to see my harvest. So
Yeah.
I planted something last year and I'm going to be watching to see how that springs forth in my life. So we're gonna move on to the topic of goal setting, right? So what we've been doing is creating the blueprint. And I like this term blueprint because when you think about architecture, there's a blueprint for any kind of building, any kind of city grid. There's always a blueprint. And that blueprint helps you decide, okay, what am I doing? Why are we doing this? And how are we going to actually make this a real thing? How we're going to have this materialize? So what I want to start with is posing a question. What is your current goal? So what goals do you currently have, right? And if you don't have any goals right now, it's okay, because I promise you after this, a goal is probably going to hit you. Just because you tuned in and you accepted the call of leveling up, sometimes just being in the atmosphere, being in the environment of change, it's like a catalyst. So what is your current goal? Okay. And this may be even a goal that you previously had that you may need to restructure. And I'm going to talk on 3 key points. For one, I'm going to talk on setting achievable goals. Then I'm going to talk on aligning those goals with your actions. Okay. And then we're going to talk about journey versus the race. Okay. So I'm going to get going. Setting achievable goals. Now, here's the trap. When you've been in business for a long time, or you've been in a particular job, you know the routine, right? It becomes second nature. You can do it in your sleep with your eyes closed. Then a shift happens, and then you're back at the drawing board. These are things that I always apply to my life. They work because I think sometimes you have to go back. You have to rid yourself of technology sometimes. You got to whip out the old fashioned paper and pen. And then you can really sit down. The Bible says, make it plain, write it down and make it plain. Right. And I've tried, using my laptop and typing it all in, but I'm telling you, getting a pencil, and I recommend a pencil with a good eraser, gives you more of the creative space. It's more organic when you're able to write down all your goals. And when you're setting achievable goals, you look at those goals. And I always start with, what is my wildest goal? If I had no reservations, if I had no money issues, if I had all the support, the staff, whatever it was, what is my wildest goal? And I start there. And then I start to narrow it down based on the assignment that's been given. I focus back on my purpose, and I ask myself, are these the things that I want? Because we all have certain desires. I mean, he's given us free choice, right? We all have certain goals, but they could be self goals. And self goals are good when you're trying to do self improvement and you want to, maybe a hobby. But when we're talking about being a leader and having an impact, whether it's in your community or in your house or at your job, you really have to have more than a self goal. You have to have, how can I have a community based goal? How can this goal positively impact the lives that I come in contact with? So from there, I narrow down my wildest goal. So if I want to, let's just say I want to be a Fortune 500 CEO. Okay. What are some achievable steps that I would take to get to that place, to achieve that goal? Because, and I focus on achievable goals, because sometimes we set goals that honestly we just cannot reach. And be honest with yourself. You set a goal and it's like, here's one, I'm gonna be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. It's a great goal, right? It's a great goal. But if you're 29 and you're not making steps that are achievable to get to a millionaire status, how are you truly going to accomplish being a millionaire at that particular point in your life? So setting achievable goals. One thing you can do is break those down into short-term goals. So if you have a big long-term goal, maybe it will take more than a year to accomplish. You want to start a business. You break that down into short-term goals. So what would be the first step to starting a business? For one, I need to figure out, what do I want to do through my business? Okay. Through your business. Now, I'm not talking about what products do you want to sell, how many followers do you want to gain. I'm talking about what impact will your business have to the community that you reach, okay? And this is assuming you have a business name and all that good stuff, right? Then you say, well, what do I need to make this impact? So is it a particular product? You say you want people to be healthy. I want to help people live a healthier lifestyle through the way they eat. So will you need to have some sort of coaching services? Will you create specialized meal plans? Will you have some sort of exercise service that you provide? You can break those down into shorter term goals. You say, okay, well, I know what my company is, I have the name for it. I know what I want to do through it. I know what services I want to provide to get to that goal. So if I want people to be healthier, then I'm providing a healthier meal plan, then I know that that is an achievable goal. Because if they stick to the healthy meal plan, they should have a healthier life. So these are actionable goals that align with the actual short-term goal. With that, I also want to encourage you to celebrate your small successes. So you may say, well, Shunte, I'm not there yet. I really, I'm not clear. I'm not sure about what to do. And people have told me if I can't see it clearly, then it's not something I should do. And I disagree. I think that is the point where you wrestle with God and you say, hey, I know that I'm supposed to do this thing. I know that this is my assignment. And like Antoinette said, you stick with it and you stick with asking for clarity until clarity is provided for you. And then you say, hey, I know what I'm going to do. I know how I'm going to do it, but I can't accomplish it by myself. And Gabriel said it best. This is where you may need to outsource some support. You may need to partner with somebody who has that particular skill. And I'll use Gabriel. I said, Gabriel, I want to start a radio station. So I need some equipment, but guess what? I have no idea what this plug means, what this outlet means, what this input means. I have no idea. And he came and he said, okay, I will partner with you and God will place people in your life that will help you as long as you have the courage to ask. Some of us say, well, I've been doing this so long, I need to ask anybody for help. I'll build by myself. Nope. If you're building something that's greater than you, it's going to take more than you. So this is where you consult with people who have the experience, who have the knowledge. And I tell you what, I guarantee this, it will save you a lot of time, a lot of frustration, and a lot of failed attempts because you have someone in place that is already in that situation that you want to be in. So Gabriel said, I will partner with you. And he shared his knowledge with me. And he taught me what the input and the output means. He taught me the names of the jacks. Then I called my father and said, hey, look, this is what I need. This is equipment of where I need. How can I get a hold to it? So you have to be able to partner with people who are already operating in the area that you want to operate in because they have that skill. They've been blessed. They have that gift, that talent. And it says nothing against you for seeking the support that you need. I also want to encourage you, like Antoinette said, have the courage. One thing I've learned about being an entrepreneur is having the courage. I've had so many goals that were so big, and I'm like, Lord, I have no idea how I can ever accomplish this. Or I will tell myself, who am I to be able to do something like this? How can I share my experiences? So we have to be careful of the narrative. What is the narrative that we are telling ourselves? Are we telling ourselves that you are capable, you are more than able, you are equipped? And if you do not have the knowledge, then the knowledge will be there when you seek it. He said, you seek me and you will find me. He didn't say seek me and I might be busy. But that's when you go to God and you say, God, I don't know how to do this, but you do. If you call me to it, then you'll get me through it. And I totally agree with that. The next thing I want to talk about is focus. You have to have a level of focus because distractions, the minute you start, the millisecond you step your pinky toe out there and say, you know what, I'm going to tackle this challenge. I'm going to rise up. I'm going to level up. Here comes the distractions. You have them coming from the left. You have them coming from the right. You have them coming from the front, from the back. And sometimes distractions look like pressure. Maybe some people are trying to pull you in different directions. And you have to be able to have enough resolve and say, no, I'm sorry. I would love to support you at this time, but right now I am unavailable. And I thank you for supporting my efforts to move forward for myself. Right? So I feel like you have to be in a place where you can say no. Even if it's no to yourself, you say, you know what? I'm just going to take a nap. I'll get back to it later. No to procrastination. No to self-doubt or self-condemnation, or say, you know what, you've been through too much, or you've done too many wrong things, and how you going to try and change your life, or how you going to try and start this business with the last one failed. I mean, let's be honest. Some of us hear those narratives even now. I've heard them, and you have to get to a point where you say no. I remember when I opened this studio, had everything I needed, and I was leaving. I told this story before. I was leaving out of Walmart, just boohooing. And I said, I just stopped right in the middle of the parking lot. You know, everything crazy happened at Walmart. So I didn't think twice about it. Stopped in the middle of Walmart and said, Shunte, stop. Why? Because I was not looking at my current situation from the actual perspective of reality. In reality, I had everything I needed. I was carrying everything I needed. But the narrative that I had going on in my mind was, you don't have what you need. You will not be successful. What if this fails? But in reality, I'm carrying everything that I need. I just got off the phone, learned something new. So a lot of times when we've been in business for so long, we get comfortable with what works. And we don't really want to take that time to step out into something else because it has the potential to fail. And guess what? If it fails, that's okay too. I think failure, if we look at it appropriately, can be the springboard for success. Because in certain situations, some successes can be future springboards for failure. Because when we lean on our past successes too long, they end up becoming stumbling blocks. And like I said earlier, stumbling blocks for future successes. So everything in the scope of your journey, which we have to remember, it's a journey, not a race. There are times where the door will open, the door will close. And every chance I get, I love to say, if the door doesn't open, that doesn't mean it's not your door. It just means it may not be the time. Yes, you have a great business idea. You've created your business plan. You partner with the right people, and it didn't take off the way you thought it would. Maybe it's not the season for a great launch, because what if it launches and you're unprepared for the harvest? Because we talked about it last week, how we want to be successful with these things, but then when they blow up, we don't realize that shift comes with more work. So you may work longer because you have more orders to fill. You may work harder because you have more than one client to see in a day. So we have to keep it in perspective that it's a journey. If the door doesn't close, I would go back to the drawing board and say, okay, Lord, if it's not the time, then just give me the patience. Because you need patience. Sometimes he'll say, I want you to run, but now I want you to rest. And you're like, okay, I've been chilling for a long time, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. So it's just important that we, for one, set achievable goals. We have to set achievable goals. So we have this big long-term goal. I mean, I'm all for it. What your wildest goal, whatever your wildest goal is. But break it down into short-term goals that are achievable, because the way we measure success isn't always the reality of success. You could be doing a great job and not seeing any change, but you're doing an excellent job. So just breaking those down into short-term goals, celebrating your successes, and really redefining your failures. How can you use those failures for your future successes? Then being patient, focused, courageous, having that positive narrative. And at the end, just remember, it's an infinite game. There are multi-levels. You should always be leveling up. I'll leave you with this. I always say, there are parts of me that I do not know, and I'm okay with that. I am afraid of the person who has themselves all figured out. So if there is a new me that I learn about because I dug deep, I learned that I have a talent that I didn't know I had. I could communicate with a certain market that I thought wouldn't really receive what I had to offer. So when you get to those places, I want you to think about just the infinite possibilities. And I am just through the roof with today. I hope today really blesses your journey, really makes things clear, and help you continue to move forward in the things that you have outlined for your life. Again, one more time, Gabriel, can you please share how we can plug in with you, and then I'll have Antoinette share as well.
All right, all right. First off, that was powerful what you just spoke of. That was powerful what Miss Antoinette spoke of. Thank you all both for sharing and pouring out into us. And again, my name is Gabriel Harrell. I'm a manhood development coach. That is where I am, whether you're 2 years old, 52 years old. We all need to be developed. And you can reach out to me on my website, that is gabrielharrell.com. You can also reach out to me on most any social media at thegabrielharrell.com. Thank you.
Thank you for your empowering words today. Antoinette, can you please tell us how we can support you and your platform once again?
Absolutely. Thanks again for the opportunity, and thank you all so much for joining. Again, my name is Antoinette Staples. You can find me on social media, Facebook and YouTube at Antoinette Staples. I also have a personal website because I do speak, and as you can see, minister the word. And so AntoinetteStaples.com is my website, as well as my women's ministry W.E.N.G.S, which stands for Women Established in God Soar. That's W.E.N.G.S. And we have an annual women's conference every October. So please be sure to follow me on those social media platforms and look out for our upcoming conference.
Awesome. Thank you guys. And thank you guys for joining us. Either if you're joining us on live via Facebook, you can find us at womenempoweringchange.org or WECINC.org. And I know some of you guys had an Ask the Presenter, and we're going to really follow up with your questions. If you have any questions, we're going to follow up with those in just a second. But you can follow us on Instagram or on Facebook as Women Empowering Change.